joined with Rudi Fronk from Seabridge Gold. Rudi, it's good to see you again.
Great to be back with you, Stephen.
So, since this time last year, it was the first time we actually met. The price of gold is up nearly $1,000 an ounce. Now, you've got one of those, we'll say, probably the hottest exploration deal or development stage deal out there in the gold market, at least in my view. How has the conversation changed in the last year from us sitting here this time last year to today?
Well, we received the designation of substantially started. That was the last de-risking we needed to do to complete a joint venture. And what that means for us is that the approvals we have, the environmental approvals we have, are now good for the life of the project.
So that effectively means you guys don't have to go and get new permits every few years.
Correct. Yeah, the existing permits were set to expire in July of 2026. Getting the substantially started designation has now negated that, so the permits are now good for the life of the project.
How has the sentiment changed with investor demand? Like I know you guys recently raised, what was it, over $100 million?
100 million US.
Yeah, 100 million US. So there's obviously an appetite out there. Has that changed for you guys considerably over the last year, or you guys are kind of at a size where you don't really get that noise from bankers calling you up constantly?
They call me up all the time offering bought deal proposals, and I typically turn them down
Okay.
unless I have a good use of proceeds. And the money we raised will allow us to do three things. Number one, it allows us to complete data collection for a final feasibility, which we expect to start at the end of this year. It allows us to complete the switching station with BC Hydro, which gives us cheap hydro power for the project. And thirdly, it allows us to do the value add engineering that we need to do to go into final feasibility.
So the big question I think everybody who follows your story is wondering is, when is there going to be an announcement with a major? You obviously know this question's coming. I have to
Of
ask it.
course, we think this year, we think the stage is now set as a result of substantially started, as a result of the metal prices. But I think the most important thing that people really are not fully recognizing is the amount of cash flow these big companies are now generating for the first time. They need to start to reinvest those proceeds into new projects. Because the elephant in the room is in the gold space, the gold miners are running out of reserves. They need new projects. And the copper mining companies all need new projects because of growing demand we're going to see in the copper market.
Now, I think about the KSM project, which I didn't really set up probably well enough at the start of this interview, but it is the largest undeveloped gold project in the world, as I understand it. Um, uh, Now, it's a bit remote. So I think about it. I think it was your 2022 report. You guys said that you guys would probably end up employing over 1,000 people at the mine once it's fully operational. Would that mean that you guys basically are going to have to build like your own town?
Camps.
Yeah.
Now we have a number of communities in close proximities we can draw population from for the operations. But part of the infrastructure being built is camps. We're also looking at perhaps bringing in some remote equipment that we actually can operate some of the larger trucks and shovels from remote locations, which obviously reduces the size that you need of camps. We've already built our first camp there for 210 beds.
Okay.
We've started road construction. We are tying into the power grid. So what was remote years ago is very different today.
Yeah, I just think about it though, like 1,000 people, full-time jobs. They got families. For them to keep going and working remotely, it sounds like a bit of a challenging order to go find, 1,000 quality people that want to work for you. Is that something that you guys have discussed? Is just sort of that infrastructure? Like I'm kind of thinking about it. You guys don't want to have to pick up travel costs for 1,000 employees to have to fly from all over the place, right?
No, you want to draw as many locals as you can. You want to draw as many from the existing First Nation communities in close proximity to the project. So we've been working with the First Nations for years now in terms of training sessions, college bursaries programs to try and train as many local people as we can. So when we do press the button, that we have the workforce to draw from.
So let me ask you about what's sort of happening right now. My understanding is you guys have a court date lined up for some one particular group that moved forward with a petition about the KSM project. Um, what can you tell us there, or what might your shareholders want to know if they're watching this video?
Um, Well, we received substantially started designation last July. In late November, the Designation filed a petition claiming that the government did not properly consult with them during the process, and also that the government was unreasonable in granting us a designation. And I should point out that the Designation is a band of 30 people, compared to the larger First Nations in the region like the Tahltan, the Niska, and the Gitxsan hereditary chiefs that basically speak for tens of thousands of people who all supported it. A week after the Designation filed their petition, two NGOs filed a second petition, again claiming that the government was unreasonable. We've now filed our responses to those petitions, as has the government. We clearly lay out the process that we went through during consultation, as well as the government did, to ensure that they were adequately consulted during the process. And when you look at the amount of dollars that we spent on many different fronts at the project, the support we have from the local communities and the other First Nation groups, there's no way that a judge can determine that the government was unreasonable in granting this.
Now, if I'm a shareholder watching this, or I have you guys on my watch list, I think one of the concerns that I would have is that this is going to be one of those court processes that take years and years to play out. Can you give us any color on that?
No, we don't think so. We think, quite honestly, if you read our responses and the government responses, it's very clear that the two petitions that have been filed are nuisance suits. It'll be decided by a judge going through our responses and affidavits and testimony. And we feel very confident that the government did their job properly in granting us. We spent over $400 million on site construction to get this designation. We've continued to spend thereafter. We've probably spent another $200 million already on top of that. To say that the government is unreasonable in granting this is absolutely ludicrous.
It makes sense. Let's talk about exploration. You guys have begun exploration at the Iskut project. What does the program look like here? As Rick likes to ask companies when he sits down with them, what is it that you're trying to prove?
We're trying to identify new ounces of gold that's not yet in our portfolio. One thing that we've been doing now for 26 years is trying to grow ounces in the ground faster than shares outstanding. And we've delivered on that over the 26 years. If you look at it, we have a chart that shows our share count relative to our ounce count. We just issued 8 million shares in a financing. We've got to recover those ounces from that dilution, and we think that the Iskut property will be able to do that. Last year, we tagged a big gold copper porphyry deposit called Snip North. We now have a 15,000 meter drill program underway, 3 rigs turning right now, and we expect by the end of this year we'll be in a position to quantify a maiden resource for the Snip North deposit. We bought Iskut with the expectation that it could be another KSM. Everything we've done over the last several years now continues to confirm that as a possibility.
Now, when you say that you guys are committed to growing ounces in the ground faster than shares outstanding, is there a general metric that you have that you're trying to get to with your exploration programs relative to the size of the financings?
Well, so we started this year with about 2 ounces of gold in the ground per common share.
Yeah.
We just issued 8 million shares.
Yeah.
To stay even, we have to find 16 million ounces. Now, that's a big task for our exploration team, but they've delivered on those types of challenges in the past. So we'll just have to see what Snip North brings to us this year.
So it's as simple as ounces to individual shares. Okay, interesting. So Rudi, if you and I sit down here this time next year at the Rule Symposium 2026, and you want to say that it's been a successful 12 months, what is it that you want to accomplish?
First and foremost, to have a named partner at KSM. I think the market really did not fully appreciate in the last financing. We had a strategic investor step up and take down 20 million of the $100 million. That strategic investor is not just money. It's someone that we're aligned with to move the project forward towards a construction decision. So between now and next year, our expectation is that partner will be named. We'll be moving forward together jointly in a feasibility study. So then after that, a construction decision can be made. That's been a big part of our objectives for years now. We now think the stars are aligned with the work we've done, the metal prices, where they're sit for the first time now, and also the need by these big companies to take new projects on, and the amount of cash flow they are now generating as a result of the higher metal prices.
All right, well, Rudy, thanks for hopping on here today. You're always one of the interviews that I look forward to when I come to these things because uh, I think you guys have the most exciting project in the world, and you never even blink when I say that. So I don't.
Well, the numbers speak for themselves.
Yeah. Well, thanks for doing this, and I look forward to seeing what you guys are going to do over the next 12 months.
Great to be with you, Stephen. Thank you.